Hello, perceptive readers. This is James Lynch, and this will just be a regular journal entry, so to speak. And I still may actually post this for a reason. It's important. Yesterday I actually had some of my communication systems, and that includes my cell phone. And this isn't the first time that this happened. That I've had my communication systems blocked and things of that nature. Now, with that being said, see, that actually brings to my mind what Jesus talked about on what people would say and do, to persons who were Christians, where he didn't say Christians, his followers. That's what he said. And so that just continues to just let me know that I know, I always said is that I was taught right, and I also realize that we are not perfect human beings, but we strive to do the best we can. And I will say again, sometimes people may worry about uh, whether they're doing the best that they can or what have you. All I know is this. Uh, you should have this desire to always better yourself. But should it be a morbid fear? A morbid fear, you see, that you're just not living up to this person or that person's standards or what have you. Um, no, it should not. One of the things that I've always really appreciated, and it's time for me to say this again, are all the verses that talks about the importance of minding our own business and not being a busybody in other person's affairs. Because it has gotten to the point now where I told you, rather than some people would just say a hello to you or write a letter to you or email or make a comment on your own blog, they always want people to really be, doing it for theirs. But you see, it's not always reciprocated. And see, and the thing about it is, in one context, and that's not the context that I'm talking about, but I'm just sharing, in one context, we give gifts and we don't think nothing of it. And then there are other settings where you do expect, even a direct addressing of matters, a direct, yes, I received this or that or what have you. And that's why I always say again that if there is a conflict, there's no way in the world people should just be able to go and tell a lie on somebody, or make a charge, period. And then everything is just done behind the scenes, and the person never know anything about it. That's not right. And there's no, as I've used again, the example of Angel Heart. That was a movie that, I tell you what, it got a lot of deep stuff in it, from spirituality to straight up spiritism. And I'm telling you right now, not everybody could really deal with that type of movie. I watched it years ago, in my heyday. But the whole point is this: all the same, you see, they got people that do stuff like that. And according to the good book and everything, um, my conscience does not do things like that to other persons. That's why I'm very straightforward. But see, what has happened in this process of people sometimes diving in other people's lives, they forget one thing. Just because they don't see or hear somebody writing something or have it written down, or what have you, it doesn't mean that that person doesn't have that all figured out in his own or her own mind. So just because you don't see the paperwork for this situation or that situation, it doesn't mean that they don't have it. in their mind, or maybe somewhere else. You see what I'm saying? In a secure place. And see, the nosiness has gotten on such a level that I told you, technology is used in ways that it's a shame in some ways of the intrusiveness that is actually being used, which I won't go into here. And I do know, principally and ethically, according to the good book, and some may feel it's my opinion, and I really don't think it is just my opinion. That God did not make us in these certain ways. For example, there are certain ways that in the spirit realm we know that the angels communicate with one another and with God. But us being human on this level in this earthly realm, see, we're not supposed to communicate in certain ways on that level. And some people may look at, well, then why did he give us that ability? Well, I can't be dogmatic and say this or that. But one thing that I do know, that even if we do have certain abilities, see, how do you not know again when everything is back fixed the way that it's supposed to be fixed in perfection? See, remember, uh, sometimes, and we find this with equipment, we find this with computers. For example, uh, I don't think it's this much of a problem anymore, but in the early days of different software and programs that was created, uh, they could actually create different type of programs, okay, different type of programs, and have all the macros. So I'm thinking almost like a word processor or what have you. But they could have all the bells and whistles and things of the nature. And this software is, I mean, it can do everything, you see, so to speak, make the best paper around. But guess what? The equipment that the software was loaded on, the processor itself, the buses itself, the PCIs itself, they have like 32 bits. You don't hear about that type of software anymore. Well, maybe you do, but they still got it backward compatible. Then 64-bit, and they may be going to another level now that I haven't looked into, which I think they have. See, the whole point is, if you didn't have the right process, if you didn't have the right computer, the right system, that's why I even say system requirements, that software would not work right. You may be able to fight with it or even get it loaded in at times, but at the same time, it might come up looking like it's going to be okay, but you'll find it's not. It'll get knocked all out of whack eventually, normally very quickly, or what have you. Well, that's the same way with certain types of methods and communication today, even with the spirit realm. It is very dangerous. And I'm just sharing this with you. You see, it's very dangerous in certain ways. And when I say certain ways, I'll say in a minute, just going outside of your prayer that you have to God. Now, I'm not talking about a meditation per se. I'm not talking about that, but I really am just letting you know the warnings that God has given in the Bible, you see, about certain forms of communication. It's in there, you see, for a reason. And one of the reasons is it just doesn't really work the way that people may think or feel it's working at times, if they do use means or equipment that God will say or is or not approve of, to do this or that in this way. Now, I said that to let you know as well that I really want to emphasize that just because a person doesn't show it, or say something, it doesn't mean that they don't know or that they don't have a game plan on what they're going to do for this or that. And that's what part of the problem is, when you do have people, and especially ones with a hypercritical mentality, that if they can't even be intrusive and know everything about your life, even the secret and hidden things that belong to you and only God, that then they'll keep on making an argument, looking for a loophole, and try to say this is why you shouldn't get this abundance or that abundance. And they'll mention specifically in their private meetings, this is why. But the very thing that they may be mentioning is the very thing that this other person is keeping secret to their heart and between them and God. See, persons should be able to have, you know how people give, this is a trial version, and you know sometimes you can go even online and you can join up to this site, you can use a software or what have you, and they'll say, okay, you can even have the all the bells and whistles for just a week period or 30-day period or what have you. And they still may not even give you all the bells and whistles, because they'll say you got to purchase it to get all the rest. So the point is, they can have this for you, but they already told you, look, I gave you enough right here in the trial versions here, and you're enjoying it so much, where if you want the rest, you pay for it. See, there shouldn't be any twisting or spinning that make it still seem like that person got to give you every single aspect of them that should be, once again, already, as some people would say, reimbursed, uh, uh, um, not reimbursed, compensated, and paid for. Yes, reimbursed, compensated, and paid for. You see, and so that's the whole thing about it. Uh, they can't keep on trying to make it seem like a simple service that somebody is getting, and also abilities and other type of talents that a person may have. See, sometimes a person will do this or do that. Why? Because that's exactly what the job calls for. But if they don't have that job, then they're not going to be doing all that extra stuff, on a high functioning level, unless they get paid for it. See, and that's another thing about persons who have been even programmers in times past. Let me tell you, they might, because they like you, they might make you just some little or small database for you that you were needing, that, oh man, helped you to get all your funds and stuff and like that together. And they did that out of love. But if all of a sudden you told a friend about it, and then your friend who had even of the bigger connections said, well, I want to see if that person can write another program, but then they really want that person to be writing out a program that's on millions of lines and this and that, and still want that person to do it all for free. That's not right. That's not right. That is not reasonable. And so I'm telling you this today because for the ones who are continuing to elevate in their love for God and teachings of Jesus, see, that wisdom covers all of that as well too. It boils down to not allowing people to get over on you. See, now they can strong arm you or what have you, because that's what they do a lot. And that's what I meant when I told you about all my communication systems and stuff. It's still been an effort to strong arm me, force me to do this or that. And that's why I sometimes make an appeal to even the ones who do appreciate what I've been sharing with them. Because like I said, you shouldn't let the bad guys keep beating up on me Well, you see, and vice versa. I wouldn't let them beat up on you. You see, going according to their own laws and structure that are corrupt, and once again beating down the good guys and getting away with it. Beating down the good guys by taking the holy word, the holy Bible, by taking the Constitution, by taking the laws of the land and applying it to the good guys, while they, in their role of bad guys, don't even abide by their own laws. So they can say, "Well, if you allow us to abuse this person in this way, then we'll abide by this law or this or that," and they don't. They still be breaking the law. They just still one upped you on saying, "Look, this is the law of the land, but let's see." You see, if we throw this against this person, whether they'll continue to be this and that, when the whole point is they're breaking the law by continuing to abuse this person, by sabotaging, by stealing from them. You see, all the stuff that's going against their constitutional rights, laws of the land, and everything else. So that's my whole point. They shouldn't be able to keep doing these type of things to anybody, and it should stop today, really. And so there you go. um, People will call you dumb just because they don't know all your business, when really they shouldn't know all your business. And I'm going to tell you a step further. Some of the very things, because you can find a person, you're not talking about a person being out on the street, and this is very important to remember. You can find a person out on the street and they can start saying, "Oh, this person didn't plan well." This, no, they ran into, once again, in some cases, crooked people, crooked criminals, people who was hiding what they are, and they sabotage their wealth. They sabotage their insurance policies. See, that's what they did. So then when later in life, when that person is having to start over again, they're like, "Man, you should have had all this." Well, you know what? I did. I did. This ain't got nothing to do with complaining. You broke the law. That's what you did. Now, you can do right by me and straighten everything out and let the money start running. You see what I'm saying there? Or you can face the judgment of Jehovah God through Jesus Christ. And I've said it.